When the instructor from the Demon Hunters Academy calls this boy to the arena to test his strength, he makes it clear that he is not joking around. His first attack smashes the ground and Aang barely manages to dodge it. The second blow is just as devastating, and the instructor has no intention of stopping. Then he grabs Aang by the neck and throws him against the wall. The other instructors start worrying that things have gone too far and it's time to stop. But when Aang gets up, he decides not to hold back anymore and to show them his true power. When he emerges from the dust, his aura is so overwhelming and terrifying that even the instructor gets genuinely scared. He had never seen anything like this before. Everyone thought Aang was just an ordinary student, but it turns out he possesses the power of the strongest demon in the world. Now it's Aang's turn. Before the instructor can even process what's happening, our boy charges in so quickly that the instructor barely manages to block the blow, but it's just a feint. In an instant, Aang throws the instructor off balance with a single strike, and with just a few powerful attacks, Aang claims victory. Everyone is left stunned. Our boy has just defeated the strongest instructor in the academy. Who is Aang and why is he so strong? Let's go back to the beginning. The boy who failed every test at the Demon Hunter Academy is now standing in front of the synchronization machine. This machine measures how well the body connects with a demon core, the energy that humans use for their transplanted armor. The higher your synchronization, the more demonic power you can control. The best cadet, Situ Liu, scored 39%, the highest in the group, and everyone calls her a prodigy, but no one expects much from Aang. But when the test begins, the numbers shoot up 20%, 40% and more until it reaches 80%. The instructors get scared, thinking the machine is broken, but it isn't. Our boy is the real deal because no one knows that this loser was once the strongest warrior of humanity. 60 years ago, he led an army of heroes against the demons who nearly destroyed the world. He fought against the Crimson Demon King and died in that final battle. But instead of dying, he woke up in a weak body decades into the future. When he looks around, he realizes that he is in a camp, trapped in another body. He feels like he's dreaming, but when he examines his hands, he sees that it is all too real. He touches his face and sees that it is different, not his cool, invincible, charismatic and handsome face, nor his strong metallic body. He goes into a crisis asking himself who he is and where he is. Apparently, he is in a training camp in the Helios region. The commander speaks to them, making sure they understand the soldier evaluation. He goes on to say that they wouldn't be here without the soldiers who fell in the war and shouts at them asking if they know what it means to be a soldier. Everyone confirms. The protagonist, on the other hand, does not. He mutters that the information is not correct, but the commander hears him and comes closer. He interrogates him, asking if he doesn't understand the symbol that soldiers represent. The commander asks him his name, but the protagonist doesn't know what to say since he can't declare himself as the legendary hero Aang. Surprisingly, even after being reincarnated, his name is still Aang, and this angers the commander even more, who sees it as a disgrace. He calls him a stupid fool who still hasn't grasped the basics of a soldier's discipline and smashes his face against the ground. The protagonist is disappointed that his body doesn't react to such a weak blow and that he still shares his name. As the commander leaves, he threatens him by saying that he will keep a special eye on him and then turns to the crowd. He tells them to go to the evaluation field as the physical test is next. A soldier helps Aang and asks if he's alright. He introduces himself as Lanson Nuo and tells him that he has a name to be proud of. Just then, a white-haired girl interrupts, mocking Aang for sharing the name of the legendary hero. One thing is certain, she hates his name. By the way, her name is Situ Liu and she leaves calling him childish, which really annoys Aang. He complains to Lan that the girl is very arrogant. On hearing this, his new friend is surprised that he doesn't know her. He identifies her as the most anticipated soldier of their group, Nickname. His new friend lifts him up and a girl takes a photo of them from behind, calling him. She introduces herself as Sweet Jiu Yu Hoi and says it's a pleasure to meet them. Apparently, she saw their interaction as a strange scene. During the physical test, Aang gets excited, reminding himself that even though his body is weak, he is still the strongest warrior. He intends to amaze everyone with monstrous scores. The test begins with the long distance endurance round. Aang starts off quickly, aiming for first place and a new record. In the end, he breaks a record, but for the longest time taken in the long distance endurance, finishing last and becoming the target of mockery. The second test is for explosive arm strength, where Aang also comes last and twists his wrist. He does terribly again in the third test, the explosive leg strength round, finishing last. Liu mocks him for having the worst results in the academy. Lan tries to cheer him up, while Suiju is disappointed that this might be the last time she can take photos of them together. Meanwhile, Yi or Tang and the officer discuss his performance. Yi tells the captain that Aang's results are so poor that he should be eliminated immediately without even moving on to the second round. The captain agrees that there isn't much hope, but says he still has the right to participate in the second round, which could be his last chance. He orders the second round to begin immediately. For this test, they gather in a building and their synchronization with the special equipment is evaluated. For Aang, this is his chance to shine. He remembers having maintained an average synchronization of more than 96% in the past. Although he is not in his best form, he knows it's all about determination and is ready to silence those who doubt him. When he checks the grafting equipment, which looks futuristic and is super lightweight, he feels excited. Lu, who trains with a martial arts family, gets a synchronization of 39, the highest. This makes her the center of attention and someone even wants to go out with her. When she finds out her score in the room, she is over the moon, though she tries to keep her cool. Hung is amazed to see this girl achieve 39% on her first attempt. Her new friend talks about how Liu seems to have a hidden burning strength and Aang feels it too. Lan notices that his friend doesn't seem worried and Aang confirms that he isn't. After all, he's used to this. The test continues. For many newcomers, it's their first time using the grafting equipment and it clearly hurts. The demonic core hits them hard, putting a lot of pressure on their bodies. Some can't bear the pain and give up. To pass, the warriors need at least 10% synchronization. Lan manages 24%, which is a pleasant surprise. Su Yu gets 30% and also passes. Yi Yao Tang says that this round is showing promising new talents. His colleague points out that including Su Yu's 6 warriors stand out. Yao Tang agrees that there are good prospects, but others are not cut out for this. Then it's our boy's turn and people start mocking him, guessing that his synchronization rate will be low because of his poor performance earlier. Aang is confident that they will have to eat their words, he'll show them what he's capable of and hopes they're ready for a big surprise. His face says it all. Aang chooses the red core, which increases physical strength. He knows that there are 6 different demonic cores. The common ones are red, yellow, green and blue. He believes that a high synchronization depends on a strong willpower. The stronger your willpower, the more power of the core you'll be able to control. When they ask him if he is ready, he says yes. As soon as he starts, everyone in the room feels a strong reaction, especially Liu, who's surprised that it is coming from Aang. Our boy is determined to show them the power of an elite warrior. Lan already suspects that he is hiding his true strength. Everyone is amazed when his synchronization reaches 40%. Aang believes he can reach 96%, so he increases his effort. The warriors watch as his rate goes up to 60%. Ye Yao Tang doesn't believe it and wonders if the equipment is faulty. A girl reports that it keeps rising, now at 80%. Some think that Aang is cheating or that the equipment is faulty, but we know that our boy just wants to prove his power. Then he feels a strange change and gets exhausted. He says he can't go on. Someone asks if he's joking and it turns out that the equipment did fail. In the end, his synchronization is only 10%, yaar. The assistant explains to Yi Yao Tang that the core broke and is defective, causing strange readings. The commander is not sure if it is just a malfunction. Aang still passes with 10%, although others think that the core is faulty. Such a weak body couldn't achieve such a high rate. A boy's friend runs to check on him. Leo feels jealous, thinks the spotlight is being stolen from him and is not happy. Lan rescues our boy, who feels grateful to have passed with that score. So Yu takes photos of Lan rescuing his friend. Later, Aang reflects on the strange loss of strength, as if something had drained it instantly, something he had never felt before. Although his willpower took him to 80%, a low-quality core shouldn't have broken like that. Yao Tang congratulates them for reaching the final test, which is a fight against demons. He hopes that they come out safely. Then they are told to proceed to the next site. Aang, feeling unwell, leaves with a bad feeling, thinking about dying. The commander still can't get over the fact that Aang's crimson core was shattered, which makes him curious about his potential. He wants to see how this rookie will handle the next challenge in the house beyond the wall in the mist. In the third evaluation area, the cadets gather in front of the door, which is about to open. Anand thinks that this is his first time going out and reflects on how people have lived in separate communities for years. Beyond the wall, a thick mist always covers the area, so they are told not to waste time, to move quietly, and to check their equipment before speaking, or else they could die. He wonders if the new core he received is enough. You don't think that's the problem, but his strength suddenly vanishes, as if something inside him is rejecting it. Could it be a side effect of time travel? As he moves forward, he senses demons nearby. Shockwaves emanate from him and reach a cave where a demon is present. The demon, upon sensing a stronger presence, gets frightened. Aang thinks these are the demons he sensed as something inside him starts to resonate for no reason. Just as he thinks this, Liu pushes in, he apologizes and Lan comes over to ask if there is any problem. Aang starts to respond, but before he can finish, they are ordered to form a team. Since everyone is ready, there is no need to wait, they must catch up with the group. Suyu wonders if joining them was part of the plan, but Aang never thought about it. Liu was worried that no one would join her. It seems she herself knows how arrogant she is. Before moving on, Suyu takes a photo of the group, a proof that solidifies their team. The dissipating trail is a black structure made of minerals. One of them clears the fog within a certain range. The examiner explains that they will do the test in teams of 4. He assumes that the test is a house in the fog. Each member receives a combat knife and a small anti-fog device made of the same material. The mission is simple. The house in the fog is the final challenge for the new recruit. A warrior must always be alert to dangers in the fog. Being a warrior is more than just being strong. It means facing fears and the unknown together as a team. They must awaken their inner hunter, defeat the demons, and thus earn the title of warrior. The first team finishes and the second one gets ready. Yoshioku, leader of the third squad, watches the contestants from the doorway. She is accompanied by Jewel and Commander Yao Tang is also present. The woman notices several talents but focuses on Liu. She wants to know what her teammates think about the newcomers. Joel is also interested in Liu. Coming from the martial family and with good training, she could become a great warrior. Yao Tang seems obsessed with Aang. He knows there was nothing wrong with his core, so he's still curious about what happened in the previous event. The woman pulls him out of his thoughts, calls him Tung Tung, and asks what he thinks. Our tough commander does not want her to use such an embarrassing nickname. Joel notices that only this woman can call a commander like that. Then she asks if they check the demon levels, since only those without fins should be in the exam. Ji Yao Tang assures her not to worry. They've been monitoring the area for days to ensure the exam is safe, with no fin demons near Hilo. Joel adds that if a fin demon appears, they will protect them. The test for the next group ends and it is time for the 10th group. Liu, who is with Aang, gets ready. A boy picks up the container but Liu snatches it from him and runs off, excited to show off her skills. Aang wonders why there's such a rush to impress. Everyone follows Liu, jumping to place the container. Tadayoshioku notices that Liu's recovery core is impressive. Her skill matches that of the blue agility cores, which shows her martial background. Soon the demons attack. Aang suggests to his group that they should fight. Lan jumps into action, throwing a powerful punch. Yao Tang, impressed by Lan, thinks he is doing a great job and has good control over his core strength. Aang pulls out his knife and tells everyone to focus on one demon each. Everyone agrees and jumps into the battle. So he attacks a demon several times, killing it. Lan also knocks down a demon with a punch. Commander Jewel points out that Suyu and the brute work perfectly together. Suyu shows off impressive moves and makes the most of the agility cores. Yi Yao Tang reminds them not to depend on anyone. Liu stabs a demon and makes it explode. It's Aang's turn. He focuses on 3 key points: throat, chest and abdomen. He targets these areas, keeping in mind the limits of his body and aiming for quick damage. He gets ready to test his skills in the exam and attacks the demon. He sees the demon throw a punch, dodges it and stabs the knife under its shoulder. He's bothered by how slow his reactions are. The demon tries to kick him, he dodges and stabs it again. His movements are not smooth. He lands a few blows, but they are weak. Seeing this, his companions suspect that he is just playing with his targets. Meanwhile, Sucho takes some photos, hoping to capture everything on camera. Layu remains silent, but thinks that Aang is showing off on purpose. Tadayoshioku takes note of our boy's fighting style and, impressed by how he keeps up the pressure, asks who he is. Joel also praises our boy, saying he moves like someone with a lot of experience. After fighting for a while, Aang realizes that he can't use his old skills and is already feeling exhausted. It's a bad situation, so he decides to finish off the demon immediately. Just as he charges in, something else suddenly appears and takes out the demon first. Sui wonders about the strange roots that show up during the fight. Then, out of nowhere, a one-finned demon appears. Sensing real danger, Yi Yao Tang tells everyone to fall back, and they do so quickly. The other two seniors also step forward to fight the one-finned demon. Tada Yoshioku tells the hunters not to panic and to stay with our commander, who promises to protect them until they reach the village. The one-finned demon senses that one of the humans resembles a demon. Aang and his three friends are trapped, confused about what it means. Liu is worried that the previous demons are nothing compared to the one-finned demon who poses such a deadly threat that they could be killed for a single mistake. Aang realizes that in his current body, he cannot handle a one-finned demon. Terror grips him at the thought of fighting such a powerful enemy as an ordinary warrior. The demon easily incapacitates all four of them and starts dragging them away. Then Yoshioku and his companions chase after it, but the demon dives underground with the foe, and Joel shouts to everyone to follow. After a while, the trail suddenly comes to an end. Then Yoshioku wonders how a one-finned demon could have appeared so suddenly, especially since Yao Tang had checked this area for days and nothing had ever happened before. This had never happened until now. Yao Tang arrives, demanding to know where the four warriors went and why everyone stopped tracking the demon. Joel suggests that he should calm down because the enemy has disappeared. The lady points out that the one-finned demon has probably gone deeper underground and that they shouldn't rush since no one has explored that area yet. Remembering the loss of his brother, Yao Tang strikes the ground with his fist, blaming himself for putting the four in danger. Joel suggests going back to the village, which must be in chaos. He wants to send out search teams to make sure there are no more one-finned demons on the loose. The lady also agrees not to stress over this unprecedented situation since no one saw it coming. She wants Yao Tang to stay calm, though she knows it's difficult for him. Yao Tang stands up and says he will continue searching for the four warriors on his own, telling them not to worry. Joel tries to object, but the lady interrupts him, telling the commander to return before sunset. He agrees and heads into the mist. She's sure that he will not change his mind. Joel remembers how the demons took away the commander's younger brother years ago, and he still blames himself. Tada Yoshioku points out that if Yao Tang's brother were alive now, he would be the same age as the four captured children. Perhaps these kidnapped children remind him of his younger brother. Meanwhile, in a cave, Aang and the others are tied up. Our boy wakes up confused, but relieved that everyone is breathing. The demon appears from behind and notices that Aang is the first to wake up. He notices that this boy is different from the others. He is curious as to why Aang has a demonic aura, perhaps even stronger than that of the Finn demon. Our boy has no idea what that idiot is talking about. Suddenly, Aang's body starts glowing red and he breaks the ropes. He lunges at the demon, but the demon dodges him. He thinks that in his past life, he would have ripped his head off before he could even move. He knows he must save the others. He notices that the Finn demon has a red core that increases its speed and flexibility, allowing it to move and attack faster. But that also leaves its joints unprotected, which is both an advantage and a weakness. The demon raises its hand towards Aang and says that it is useless to resist. It strikes him with its hands, and Aang realizes that he must attack its joints, its weak spot. He pushes back with all his strength, refusing to be seen as weak. He shouts that he has killed many Finn demons. The demon gives him a fierce kick that makes him stagger and leaves him bleeding. Being a wood-type demon, it can regenerate, and this rascal is very proud of its abilities. Aang had always believed that only green core demons had that power, and he wonders if things have changed in the last 50 years. The demon accuses him of underestimating it, then sends out roots that pierce through our boy's body and drag him, grabbing him by the head. It says that he still doesn't understand who it is. Aang feels the roots stabbing into his organs, almost making it impossible for him to breathe. He's just been reborn and is already on the verge of dying again. Worried about the other three, he feels the same desperation as before and fears that all of them will die along with him. Aang is filled with regret and sadness, cursing his own weakness for dragging them into this. Noticing his condition, the Finn demon decides to eat him in order to evolve. Just as it approaches, a voice inside our boy questions whether the demon plans to devour him. This inner demon complains that if Aang dies, its plan will fail and it is annoyed to have to spend its last bit of energy now. Suddenly, the Finn demon senses a terrifying power coming from our boy. A demonic form emerges and the Finn demon assumes it might be a 5 or 6 finned one, but the aura is much stronger and shockwaves rise up to the sky. An 8 fin demon bursts in, causing the 1 fin demon to panic. The newcomer announces himself as the strongest red core demon and the king of the Finn demons. The one-fin demon, trembling, calls him the Crimson King. Meanwhile, Yi Yao Tang continues searching and fights against demons. Then she stops, noticing that she has checked everywhere nearby but only saw 2 without fins. She believes that the 4 candidates are not around and vows to search for them until nightfall. Then she senses a great energy in the distance, wondering if it has something to do with the candidates. Aang is surprised to find himself in such a dark place with no sunlight. He demands the final demon to tell him if he disappeared and if the other 5 are still Fin Kings. The final demon says that nothing has changed. Aang replies that the demons have been living peacefully. He remembers what happened 60 years ago and gets angry, asking if they've forgotten what they did to him. He attacks the final demon, upset because the body of the strongest warrior he chose became weak after traveling through time. He feels disappointed for wasting his last bit of power on something so insignificant. If he wants to show himself again, he must wait until he is fully awake. The strongest warrior must slowly recover all his memories. The final demon explains that the fin memory Aang is talking about is tied to his growth. Aang points out that the bumps on their knees and the number of fins they have show their level. When more fins grow, they need the fin memory, something only their species possesses. That is why they are always stronger than other races, and the warrior's body that Aang is using now is the same as his own. However, they can only level up by devouring demons of the same rank. Aang, on the other hand, must consume demons of a higher rank than his own to unlock hidden memories and evolve. The bastard who was arrogant before is now a whiner who promises to help the 8-fin demon and do everything for him. The 8-fin demon ends up killing the bastard since he is not worthy and his only current purpose is to serve as food and help Aang awaken his fin memories. This is the first step in Aang's quest to become stronger. This Dark Lord wants a boy to slowly reach the 8 fins. When that happens, the 8-fin demon will awaken from his deep slumber. Afterwards, the bastard returns inside our boy, while Aang is trapped in the brutal memories of the past when he and his companions were gravely injured. His companion wished that His Majesty Aang would live because that woman is waiting for him. When the dream suddenly turns into a nightmare, he opens his eyes in the present and wonders if he was dreaming. He realizes that these are memories from a long time ago and feels very afraid. Just then, his friends come in, happy that he is awake, and he is surprised to see them. Soyu notices that our boy's hair looks different and asks if it was caused by the demon gate. Aang feels confused as he has no idea what she's talking about. Then he checks if everyone is alright, remembering that they were dragged underground by the final demon. Yi Yao Tang and the other 2 commanders come in and want our boy to share what happened down there. Aang asks why all the elders decided to visit him. Then Yoshioku tells him that a brute commander brought them back. She calls him Tung Tung once again, which is frankly quite embarrassing. Joel further explains that a brute commander found all 4 of them passed out in a cave. Luckily, the fin demon was nowhere to be seen. Otherwise, bringing all of them back would have been difficult. Then Yoshioku says that after a while, the other 3 woke up, but they didn't remember anything that happened in the cave. Aang was the only one who remained unconscious, and his body went through some changes. She gives him a mirror so he can see his changed hair and then asks if he remembers anything that happened underground. Aang looks at his new appearance and wonders what happened. He still can't make sense of everything that happened after traveling through time. He remembers fainting after being hit in the cave, but he doesn't know anything else. He thinks about whether to tell them about the time travel, but decides not to. No one would believe him and they think he's gone mad, so he plans to stick with his current identity and find out what's going on. Aang admits that he woke up for a moment and saw that they were in an underground cave, but then he fainted again. This makes Yi Yao Tang wonder about the blood splatter she saw and who caused them. Joel looks at our boy and remembers that Aang is the name of the most powerful warrior. Although our boy fights well, he is still lacking in some areas. Then he asks if Aang has fought against demons. Our boy says no, that he's interested in demon combat and has studied it, but he has never had real battle experience. Since Aang is well informed, the older woman suggests to our burly commander not to give up on training him properly. Aang asks what happened with his warrior test. So he says that they passed and now they are in the STLK team. Lan adds that, due to recent events, Jiao Tong grouped them into a team of 4. Liu chimes in saying that they are behind compared to the others. Jiao Tong explains that they need to do missions to earn points, and since Aang was unconscious for 3 days, they have no points. Aang is surprised that he was unconscious for so long. The next day, the four of them are in the village wearing their new uniforms. People are talking about the new warriors who arrived 3 days ago. Jiao Tong appears, congratulates them on becoming warriors, and praises them for surviving an encounter with a fin demon. He says that he will lead their squad, one of 9 under his command, and hopes they do well against the others. Aang feels that the rules are stricter than before. Lan asks if Aang has never heard of the squad ranking system. It seems that Aang is a newcomer and doesn't know much, and now they are at the bottom. Jiatong explains how the ranking board works and adds that the squads at the bottom receive monthly punishments like cleaning until the next rankings. Aang realizes that this might explain why the village is so tidy. Jiaotong appoints Liu as the group leader and no one objects except our boy. He doesn't express his wish to be the leader and lets Liu enjoy his new role. Jiaotong instructs them to pick missions from the board and get used to using their nano wings in fights. He says they can talk to him if they have any problems. When Jiaotong leaves, Liu suggests checking out the missions since they have a lot to catch up on, but the photographer says there's something more important. They need a group photo, so they quickly take one. Later, Jiaotong asks his colleagues what they think about everything. Tadayoshi Oku says that, as our brood commander had noticed, there were no fin demons left in the cave. It seemed all of them had died in an explosion, leaving blood everywhere. That's why our brood commander suspects that the 4 candidates did it and admits to feeling uneasy about Aang. He notices something familiar in his scent. Takayoshi Oku tells him not to worry so much and says he is glad the 4 of them returned safely. She also wants him to train them well so that they don't lose against her team. Jiaotong is very serious about suspecting Aang, so Joel suggests keeping an eye on the boy. Meanwhile, at the board, Aang is happy to see that all the missions are A-level. Each one is worth 10 points. Lan says that A-level missions are the highest level, while Suiju adds that they might also be the most difficult. The boy explains that B-level ones give 6 points and C-level ones give 3. These lower level missions are simpler and safer, but the A-level ones are deadly and people often die. Lu looks at the 3 missions and together with Aang suggests taking all of them. When their quest begins, the 4 of them start running and Aang activates his core. His nano wings appear, but one wing gets caught on a rock. Focusing on the energy of the nano wings, he manages to form a sword in his hand. He thinks about how much nanotechnology has advanced in 60 years. They hide behind a rock. Yu says they're ready and explains the objective. You finless demons, both must be taken down at the same time. He reminds them to stick to the plan and wait for a signal. When the signal comes, they charge in. Liu points out that they have 3 level A missions, so they can't afford to waste time. The fight needs to end quickly. Lan moves first to block the demon's line of sight, making sure the others aren't seen. Yu repeats the plan. She, Aang and Suiju will stop the demons from moving. After attacking, Aang wonders how the demons will fight with a joint cut. Meanwhile, the youngest in the group strikes both demons in midair and Liu follows up with a swift finishing move. The timing is just perfect. Suiju notices that the mist has cleared and the insertion is stable. Lan is glad to have dispersed the mist. Dispersing it here is tougher than during the exams, but that's to be expected from a level A mission. Even a single mission has taken them quite some time. The girl with the camera finds a red demon core and smiles. That Tsundere girl is also happy that they finally got the 10 points. Aang on the other hand is surprised to learn that the cores break once a mission is completed. Suiju explains that the technology is meant for demon combat, and the chip in the mission form sends the points to the city's leaderboard once the job is done. After clearing the mist outside the city, she asks Aang if she can check the other 2 cores. She checks them and lets out a sigh. Afterwards, they spend the whole afternoon fighting finless demons but only manage to get 3 cores. They still need 7 more. Catching demons alive is much more difficult. Lan points out how easy they have had it so far. Liu suggests the next step. Finish the other missions and keep taking A-level ones to reach the top. Suju takes a photo of Liu. Why not? Lan meanwhile hopes to take the first position so that the other squads don't think they are weak. Aang also suggests the same, and since the other squads are also earning points, they need to move quickly to stay ahead. Those who act first succeed, and those who hesitate get nothing. Even though he's over 50 years old and has lived 2 lives, he feels energized with them. Their drive makes him feel young again. He suggests one more mission before sunset, and Suiju and Lan agree. Leo notices that Aang is starting to take charge. Lan has already taken down a few more demons and says they have 3 left. Liu reminds him that they almost ran out of tranquilizers for finless demons and that each squad has a limited supply. While Liu checks her weapon, Aang takes a closer look at it. She explains that it is a nanotechnology tranquilizer gun designed to capture demons alive. Aang recalls that in the past catching demons meant knocking them out. They were always complaining about brain damage. Lan says they're lucky to have caught them, especially since they ran out of all their tranquilizers. They finish the mission after defeating an entire group to capture 3 alive, more than 10 demons in total. Suyu stretches and reminds them that the warriors must return before sunset or else they'll be punished. Aang wonders if he has a place to return to in this era. Liu says she also has to leave. All that's left is to set up the GPS so the researchers can find the place. Once the demons are collected, the mission will be complete. Aang asks if anyone else can feel the strong murderous intent. At that moment, red lightning shoots out from behind, killing the demons. A masked boy appears and says he won't let them finish the mission. His squad is supposed to handle A-level missions, and he demands to know who allowed Liu's squad to take them. Aang wonders who they are. They seem like bad news. The guild leader reveals that they are from the Black Weapon Squad, the veterans. He asks a girl from his team how many squads have joined, and she replies that there are 3. The leader scolds Aang and his team for not greeting their superiors. The 4 from the Black Weapon Squad land and accuse Liu's team of taking A-level missions without permission. They think they are being disrespected. The photographer is angry because the demons they worked so hard to capture were killed. A boy from the Black Weapon Squad asks who leads Liu's group and why they're not greeting him. Liu lunges to kick him, but he dodges and asks how Liu dares to attack his superiors. Liu expresses his disdain for these so-called superiors. Lan and Suyu step in to calm them down. The photographer says that the Black Weapon Squad is unreasonable and wants to know how they could kill the demons her team had captured. The boy just shrugs, saying it's all part of the competition and calls them naive. This only fuels Liu's anger further, but teammates try to stop her and ask Aang to step in and sort things out. Instead, Aang runs over, kicks the arrogant boy and snatches off his mask. He says he's never heard anything so shameless and asks if they have any idea how hard it was to capture those demons. His friends are shocked, but Liu, as expected, looks quite pleased. The now unmasked boy tells Aang to get ready for a fight. Liu also wants to fight. Just then, Yao Tang appears and stops both of them by separating them. The commander, annoyed, reminds them that the sun is setting and tells them not to stir up any more demons. But the boy says that his team was attacked by ants. Suyu showed photos of the Black Weapon Squad killing the demons that Liu's team had captured. Lan asks when Suyu took those photos. Yi Yao Tang reminds Liu's team that they shouldn't have taken on the A-rank mission. Liu says they were about to finish it until the Black Weapon Squad got in their way. The commander downplays the matter, saying that the Black Weapon Squad had similar problems when they were new, so he won't do anything about it. Each squad must deal with these problems themselves. What matters is earning points in kata. You're not allowed to harm or endanger other warriors, but everything else, like ruining someone else's mission, can happen. He reminds them that these rules are the same for everyone and that they will see even worse things. He only stepped in because it was almost night, so he told them to return to the village. He scores the Black Weapon Squad because it is shameful that a team of rookies outperformed him. As he leaves, the boy asks Aang's name and he gives it. Feeling uneasy, he turns to his companions, recalling how Aang's name matches that of the most powerful warrior. He vows not to let Aang and his squad earn easy points. He also wants Aang to pay for the cut on his face and the humiliation. Then he puts on his mask and leaves with his squad. The Black Pistol squad is not the best, but they act quickly and could ruin Liu's group's plans again. Their leader uses a pistol, and although he didn't show it, Yi Yao Tang admits that the boy is strong for a rookie. A real fight could go either way. Then he orders the team to return to the village. Liu looks at our boy and asks him why he was so reckless. He thanks him for the pick. Lan invites his friend for dinner, but Aang refuses. The muscular one wonders if our boy has a secret plan. Aang admits that he does plan to go after 3 more demons today. Later, the loudspeakers warn people not to leave the tower for safety reasons. Aang thinks that he only heard the announcement and didn't see anyone. With the village closed, there's not much to do, so he plans to check his house after finishing his secret mission. The security at the main gate is quite relaxed. There's only one dad. He thinks they're short-staffed or maybe they don't expect anyone to go out at night. There's a gap in the gate through which he can slip out, so he gets ready to leave. Just then, Liu shows up. She already knew you would do this. Excited, she reminds him that she figured it out when he hinted he would go out at night. For once, her sharp perception and attention to detail make her boy a bit uneasy. She asks him why he's leaving so late and if he has a special place to go. He jokes that he ate too much and wants to walk it off. He hopes to surprise everyone in the morning and make up for what the masked man ruined. Now that she's found him, his plan might be in trouble. As they walk through the village, Liu catches up to him and asks about his plan. He can hardly wait to see the masked man's confused face tomorrow. Ang notices her giggles and points it out, but she denies it, even though she's clearly amused. High up on the gate, two guards are yawning. One complains that night watch is terrible and he just wants to close the gate since no one should be going out. The other, while eating, warns him not to say that, or the third captain might hear him. He explains that the gap remains open for emergencies. Years ago, refugees were attacked by demons because the gate took too long to open. Now every village leaves a gap just in case. The first guard apologizes. The second tells him not to worry, that they'll get used to their exhausting job. Then he pulls out an adult photo magazine. The first guard notices new photos of warrior women from other villages, which doesn't surprise him since it must have cost a fortune. While both perverts are distracted, our duo slips away from the gate. Aang notices that the old examination ground is covered by a thicker fog. They move to another spot where Lu says they're less likely to be noticed, far from the walls and with a rotten forest for cover. Our boy explains the Pandora. He will lure the demons and she will aim for the heads. They will rely on sheer strength to knock them out. He enters the fog and tells her to wait for him. Liu trusts Aang, but she feels uneasy as he disappears into the thick fog. She doesn't know if she's excited or worried, but she focuses and stays ready. Liu is impressed by how well Aang lures the demons. He only brings out one finless demon at a time, which makes it easier to catch them. For her, this brute strength is something new and enjoyable. She learns quickly and does it well. When Aang signals her, she comes closer and together they handle the demon with light and precise blows, almost as if they are playing. They continue until it faints, which reminds her of her old methods. Exhausted, Aang thinks about the training he needs in this new body, even though earlier he used to catch finless demons easily. Liu reminds him that with this one, they've already caught 3 demons and she is worn out. He tells her to leave them there. The girl hesitates and asks if he's sure. Aang is confident in his decision since the finless demons are not clever enough to rescue themselves and they won't go to the village. A blow to the head keeps them unconscious for a while. That way, they'll stay like that till morning. The girl is impressed by how much he knows. Her response makes Aang realize that he has set too large. Suddenly, 2 one-finned demons appear, sniffing out the humans. Aang gets worried that 2 have shown up at the same time. He knows that he and Liu are not ready for that fight. An alarm goes off in the village. The 3 elders run to the top of the gate. Joel tells the guards that they saw one-finned demons and to use the spotlights. Tada Yoshioku asks if these are the same demons from the exam. Yi Yao Tang confirms that they are not the same ones. The guards see the 2 one-finned demons and Joel wonders if something is attracting them. He tells everyone to stay calm, close the gates and get the cannons ready, but Yi Yao Tang shouts not to close them. Someone is still out here. He is furious to see our duo outside and demands to know why they went out so late. The elder wants to know what the children are doing outside at this hour. They see 3 finless demons tied up, which makes Yi Yao Tang realize that they came to make up for the failed mission. Joel is not surprised. It's a typical mistake made by new warriors acting boldly. Even so, Yi Yao Tang gets angry and decides to punish both of them once they return. He charges towards the demons and Tada Yoshioku tells his companion that he will follow Yi Yao Tang, leaving the rest to him. Joel sighs. His night of drinks is ruined. Meanwhile, when the one-finned demons see the warriors, Aang tells the girl to wait. He wants them to wait for reinforcements and see if he's the real target. He wonders if it's the same thing that happened before, connected to his reincarnation or that strange event in the tunnel. Yu suggests that they fight Thebat. A demon asks if they'll be able to hold out, then focuses on Liu and calls her useless. Immediately, that rascal lunges forward. Aang pushes the girl, saving her, and the demon comments on his reflexes. Liu kicks the demon and notices water, wondering if she missed. The second demon catches her with 3 strands. The first demon warns Aang to stay alert. Suddenly, Ye Yao Tang arrives and strikes at Yuan. He swears that he won't let them harm the children and asks everyone to stay calm. Tada Yoshioku sees that one demon has a blue core, water type, and the other has a red core, earth type, so he decides to rescue Liu. The earth demon thanks the gods for blocking the blow, otherwise he would have lost his ugly head. Joel thinks they're at a stalemate and asks to pause the cannon fire. A girl reports that a large number of finless demons are coming. Joel asks how many, and she reports a horde. With so many demons approaching, Joel orders the alarm to be sounded and tells the warriors to take their positions. As the alarm rings, everyone climbs up to the wall. Seeing the horde, Yao Tang knows that these bastards have come prepared. Ong notes that the demons are heading straight for the village, and Tada Yoshioku says that the two one-fin demons must have called them. Meanwhile, Liu shouts not to worry about her and to protect the village. She blames herself for carelessness and feels like a bad leader. Suddenly, a demon covers her mouth so she cannot speak. Yao Tang and the others fall back, and the second demon attacks them. The brute commander warns Tada Yoshioku to be careful, and she breaks some spikes that are thrown at them. Aang notices that the demons are not attacking him. As he passes by a one-fin demon, it tells him to keep going. Yao Tang sees that the demon let Aang pass and wonders why. The demon lunges again, warning that if they are not careful, they will die. Meanwhile, another demon drags Liu away. Aang suspects that it's a trick to separate him from the captains. He tries to calm himself, knowing he's not strong enough to go in blindly. The elders shout at him not to chase after Liu, saying he doesn't stand a chance against a one-fin demon. But Aang can't forget how familiar her eyes seem to him, and he can't leave her behind. Ignoring their warnings, he runs to save her. The demon puts Liu down on the ground and talks about how interesting humans are. He has heard that they scream when they lose hope and demands that she beg for mercy to satisfy his curiosity. The demon notices Liu's mouth is covered, which is why she isn't screaming. He removes the cover and tells her to beg, but Liu refuses. After all, a humble one-fin demon doesn't deserve her plea. The demon asks why she doesn't consider him worthy, and Liu replies that she comes from a martial family. She will not kneel before an enemy, showing weakness is shameful. She demands either death or a fair fight. Annoyed by her words, the demon strikes her and gives her a death ultimatum. Just then, Aang appears and tells the demon to let go of Liu. The girl is surprised to see him alone and asks why he is by himself. The demon, on the other hand, is pleased that his plan worked and that our boy, the real target, has arrived. Hearing this, the girl wonders why Aang is the target. He asks if she's alright, to which she replies yes, but asks why he's here alone. She warns him that he cannot handle a one-fin demon and that he should run away. The demon strikes Liu again, telling her to keep quiet. Hung begs him not to hurt her and says to take him instead if he leaves her alone. The demon ignores him and attacks, saying that everyone will die. Aang tries to fight back, but the demon dodges and counterattacks. He notices that his body is not reacting quickly enough. The demon notices that Aang smells like a demon and wonders why. Aang is surprised to realize that this demon might be of the water type. He wonders how the demons have changed in 50 years, acquiring so many traits. His weak body only copies old movements, so he can't fight much. Liu is worried that Aang will die at this rate and curses him for coming alone. He decides that he can't just sit idly by. Aang attacks, but the demon mocks him, saying he already killed a fine demon in the cave. He wonders why he's so weak now. Aang doesn't know what the demon is talking about and doesn't remember killing a fin demon. He doesn't like Aang's tone and wants to punish him. He does something painful to Aang and warns him that if he lies, he'll die. Then he attacks him, throwing him against some trees. The poor fellow feels a sharp pain, fearing that his organs might be damaged. Liu sees him in trouble and decides to help. The demon comes closer and threatens to eat him if he doesn't give the information. He wants to evolve by devouring our boy. When he approaches Aang, the girl bursts in and kicks the demon, warning him to leave her companion alone. Aang notices that she broke free by force. His wrists and ankles are burning. The girl faces the demon and challenges him. If he wants to kill someone, let him kill her. As the leader of the group, she will defend her companions till death. The demon agrees and tells her not to dodge. Then he launches attacks at our boy from different angles and she blocks them without moving. Aang shouts at her to move, but she refuses. She doesn't want him to get hurt. She tells him to keep quiet and let her concentrate. Suddenly, thorns sprout from the ground and pierce her feet. The demon grabs her and says he won't kill her immediately. Instead, he'll humiliate her and eventually make her scream. Aang lies on the ground trying to rescue his friend, but he feels helpless. He thinks it's unfair that even after reincarnating, he has to watch a companion die again. He hates being the one who needs to be saved and wonders how he can protect anyone if he can't protect himself, why he must lose his companions again, and why he feels so weak. Suddenly, he releases a massive aura that frees Liu from the demon's grip. Seeing our boy move so quickly, the demon is taken aback. Aang, meanwhile, feels proud of Liu, as he did well as a squad leader for the first time. From now on, he will take care of everything. Then he gently lowers her down. Suddenly, the demon senses a familiar smell from Aang and thinks there is some secret behind him. Aang himself feels a strong power growing in his chest as if it is about to burst out. In a burst of rage, his core shines with a blinding light. The demon wonders if it's a real Finko. Leo sees lightning coming out from our boy and barely notices him facing that monster. It seems that our boy has awakened his own Fin. Meanwhile, the elders are fighting against another demon. That demon senses a strong aura like his own, and Ji Aotang strikes him, then Tadayoshi Yoku kicks him, leaving a big hole in his body. Angry, the demon starts to glow, ready to self-destruct in mid-air. The woman senses that it's about to self-destruct and asks Ji Aotang what he plans to do. The demon shouts that all humans will die, but just at that moment, a spear-like shot from the defense artillery sends him flying away. Fortunately, it was the defense artillery that brought down the monster before it could explode. Joel, fighting against countless finless demons, sees the horde approaching and warns the other two seniors about the imminent threat. Tadai Yoshioku tells our fierce commander that they must return to the city. Ji Yao Tang is worried about our boy and Liu, but Tada Yoshioku does not want to abandon the battlefield, reminding him that they have duties as warriors, not just as captains. So, after making this tough decision, they hurry back to protect the city. Elsewhere, the one fin demon asks why Aang looks so much like them but also seems human. He is confused by our boy's human fins, which should be impossible. Aang wonders if his reincarnation gave him demonic powers. Then he uses a healing power on Liu. Seeing him heal us so effortlessly, the demon is amazed and asks if he's a wood type. This healing hour is because he absorbed a wood type one fin demon. If he defeats and absorbs a water type one fin demon, he could gain water powers. The demon is stunned by Aang's strength, something never seen before. Aang makes Rhodes appear and says that he wants his power. The demon panics upon realizing that Aang has absorbed a wood type demon. Seeing this fool scared, our boy feels great pleasure as he had never seen a demon afraid before. He approaches and tells him to use all his strength so he can gauge his power. The demon wants to know whether our boy is human or demon. As he says this, the rascal charges at him. Since he possesses the abilities of wood-type demons, he summons vine tentacles that trap the demon. The demon, in pain, uses his hidden attack. He throws his water whips at Aang, but Aang dodges them. The demon lunges again, saying that he will show no mercy. While fighting, he boasts that Aang will never understand true demonic power. He gives him a strong kick, sending our boy crashing into the trees. Aang admits he doesn't understand strength, but if the demon knew how quickly he learns, he'd see that Aang is the strongest warrior. He knows he must adapt to Wing. The demon is surprised by his wood-type healing, and Aang catches on. He attacks again, trapping the demon in his roots, then grabs his face and says he's tired of this fight. The demon feels something strange before his body explodes, leaving only his face and a water crystal. He claims he can dissolve his body and survive, but Aang points out that his core cannot escape. An overconfident demon is doomed if his core disappears. He pulls out the demon's water core and reminds this insignificant fellow that even a 7-fin demon dies if its core is destroyed. With that, our boy clashes the water core and drinks it to absorb its power. After drinking it, the demonic essence doesn't taste bad. The demon inside him urges him to devour more demons and kill humans. While he tries to resist, he even attacks Liu's shield to devour her. But the real Aang cannot hurt his companion, so he tells the demon to stop. He wants to save Liu, not kill her. At the main gate, the warriors are fighting against finless demons. Lan notices that our duo is missing. Sui Yu says he heard rumors that 2 warriors escaped and were attacked by a 1-fin demon. Lan is surprised, thinking it could be our duo, but Sui Yu tells him there's no time to confirm and they must keep fighting against the horde. The 2 elders also arrive and join the battle. Joel asks about their cause and the captain says they are fine. In the midst of the fight, Joel is happy to report that after taking down a one-fin demon, the normal demons are less coordinated, acting like frightened creatures. He wants to use that to scare them off and buy some time. The other two elders agree. They jump down from a high place and unleash a huge blast with their cores. The Yoshioku remembers that this is the second time they have pushed their core so far, and Yi Yao Tang wishes that his fire core had more endurance to maintain that power. Joel comments on how dangerous the explosive red core can be, and then charges in, cutting down demons. From above, Suigi watches in amazement at how powerful a captain's attack is. Lan thinks that this is the power of a fin core and dreams of reaching that strength. After a while, Joel checks on the other two seniors and they say they're fine. His plan works, the demons retreat. Suddenly Joel senses something unusual and points out a figure approaching. It's Ang carrying the Team Lima. Tala Yoshioku wonders where the one-fin demon went. Joel looks at him and sees that he's worried. Even though they broke the spirit of the finless demon, Ang shouldn't be so casual, as they could devour him alive in an instant. Speaking of the devil, the demons attack Ang and the three captains jump in to help. The demon notices them and gives them a terrifying look, making them step back. The demons flee and the warriors cheer as the horde retreats. Some ask why they ran away, assuming the captains scared them off. Others believe they panicked after seeing such a display of power. Everyone praises their captains for being brave and strong, although Yi Yao Tang doubts whether it was really their doing. He suspects our boy had something to do with it. As Ang returns to normal, he notices the captains coming towards him. In his mind, he dreams of the 8-fin demon who boasts that Ang relied on his powers. When the boy asks, the demon says they met more than 50 years ago, so Ang might not remember. A boy realizes that he's one of them and asks how many of them exist. The demon assures him that his questions will be answered. The creature appears before Ang and introduces himself as the Crimson Fin King, the strongest of his kind. He notices that our boy is not afraid of him, which is only natural for the most powerful warrior, and praises his willpower for resisting his control. The Crimson King promises not to harm him. Our boy asks why the demon chose his body and what happened to the previous one. Another 8-fin demon appears behind Ang and touches his face, saying that he will understand soon enough. He explains that Ang's body is connected to the Crimson power, and for the good of both, the boy must work hard and level up. With time, both of them will get closer to perfection. Ang gets angry. He doesn't like that the demons consider humans to be inferior. He stands up and hits the demon. Actually, Ang wakes up from the dream and lunges forward, grabbing Liu by the collar to hit her. He comes to his senses when he sees his attributes. Of course, Liu slaps him and the others hold him back, asking why he behaved like that. At that moment, Liu's father Yun Gong arrives and tells them not to treat the savior like an enemy. The others greet him as master, while Liu calls him father. Joel explains to our boy that Yun Gong is the head of the Marshal Situ family. He's surprised that Ang does not recognize him, considering he's also from Helios. Everything starts to make sense to our boy. Since he's the father of his leader, this man is looking after him for saving his daughter, so he apologizes to Yun Gong for causing trouble. The chief thanks our boy for saving his daughter on behalf of the Situ family. He tells the three captains that they can stay in the training area for a while and that there'll be a celebration that night for the victory over the horde. The captains apologize, but Yun Gong laughs, saying that he has seen them grow up and that this place is their home. He notes that Liu is stubborn, so they must keep her in check without mercy. The captain agrees to take care of everything and dismisses everyone except Ang and the three captains. Once they are alone, Yi Yao Tang becomes suspicious of a boy and wants him to tell everything about the one-fin demon from the exam and the recent demon horde. The other seniors are also looking for the same answers. Although Ang does not belong to their squad, he cannot afford any doubts and wants the youngster to spill everything. Ang asks if they are being serious, reminding them that he and Liu barely escaped from the one-fin demon. Joel points out that the other two seniors had to join forces to defeat a demon. So how did this boy manage to defeat it all by himself? He then demands to know how Ang managed to escape. Joel suggests that the boy might be working with the demons, which would explain why they always let him escape. Ang wonders if he should reveal his secret and risk getting killed. He fears that they might not believe he is human and see him as a threat because of the demonic power he carries within. Joel's seriousness shows that he wants the truth and will not settle for anything less. He is ready to confront our boy. Seeing this, Aang starts to think he might have to fight, but Tara Yoshioku interrupts and silences a fellow captain. She says that only a four-fenned demon can take human form, and it's unlikely that Aang is one of them. Besides, there is no reason for such a demon to come to a coastal village. The brute captain adds that demons are selfish and would never rescue anyone. Since Aang saved Liu, Yao Tang is sure that this boy cannot be a demon. Joel pats the young man on the back and passes off his aggression as a joke. He acknowledges that Aang and Liu almost died and must be exhausted. In her report, Liu recalls fainting after fighting the Fin demon and not remembering anything. So the superior asks how Aang managed to get her out. The woman also asks if Aang defeated the Fin demon all by himself. In his mind, our boy remembers that he did defeat it and never thought about how to hide it. He simply says that he is a genius with a unique ability. He explains that he can boost and expand the strength of his core for a short period, going beyond his normal power. That is his trump card. Tada Yoshioku says that Aang's description sounds like the method they use to channel the explosive force of their core. Our boy plays along, though he is not sure if they will believe the rest. Joel wonders if he's telling the truth. Yao Tang reminds him about the incident in the cave, asking if Aang is suggesting that he use the same trick to defeat the cave demon as well. Our boy confirms it. He says he came up with the technique after meeting his Fin demon. His body absorbs the core strength instantly, so he smashed the demon when it let its guard down. It was his first time, that's why he fainted. He tried the same thing to rescue Liu, but fainted again because his body couldn't handle the strain. Surprisingly, the Brute Commander considers Aang's story. It also explains why his core was damaged both times. The power exceeded his limit. Tara Yoshioku agrees that if everything Aang says is true, it makes sense that he finds it difficult to handle. He points out that their technique is similar, but they have trained to reduce the cost when using explosive power. Since Aang can't control it, he warns him not to try it again until he learns how to manage it. Yao Tang also shares the same thoughts, although he wants a fight with our boy to gauge his potential. Finally, they move to an open space and Aang gets ready to face his commander. He can tell that his captain still doesn't trust him. Yao Tang, ready, gives Aang the chance to attack first. The boy gets ready, wondering how to fight against him. You see, our boy's current power is basic compared to his past abilities. His body can't handle an all-out fight and he debates whether to use his demonic power. Suddenly, Yao Tang moves forward and attacks, but our boy dodges even though the impact destroys part of the area. Tara Yoshioku shouts at the Brute Commander to tone it down. The man admires his student's reaction time, which is very good. Aang realizes that he's relying on his old experience and is already close to his limit. Yao Tang attacks again, forcing our boy to dodge. Once again, Yao Tang destroys large sections of the training ground as if it were his own backyard. Then the captain grabs Aang by the neck and asks if that's all he's got. Aang feels he can't break free and is thrown against a wall. Joel sees that the captain is going overboard and suggests stopping him, but Tara Yoshioku believes he wouldn't hurt anyone without a reason. The brute mocks his student, asking if he really deserves to be called a genius. Aang can't stand being looked down upon. He remembers that the warriors used to call him king and thinks that if Yao Tang knew who he really was, he would treat him differently. Since Aang claims to be a genius, he has to prove it. He decides not to hold back and uses the demon's strength. He unleashes his aura, surprising Tara Yoshioku. He challenges his superior. Now it's his turn to attack. The brute captain feels the enormous aura of his small student. Aang believes that the demon's power will make his core work better. He feels that he can unlock his potential by changing his mindset. Joel wonders if he also feels the synchronization. The woman doubts that a village like Heloa's could have someone as talented as Aang. Yao Tang notices that Aang's synchronization has gone up to 40% and is still rising. Liu is at 39%, so our boy has surpassed her. My boy warns his superior to focus before charging in to hit him. Yao Tang sees that the boy is twice as fast, but my boy downplays it, saying it's just a slight improvement. Yao Tang thinks that Aang is taking advantage of his slowness and using low blows to confuse him. He also sees that he doesn't fight recklessly. My boy kicks the captain again. Joel, watching, notices his relentless attacks and wonders where he learned to fight so well. Just then, the big boss Shun Gong arrives, warning that it's not safe to be near Yao Tang, a tough fighter. The two superiors speak to him, apologizing for using his field for training and for the inconvenience caused. The big boss looks at the broken ground and wonders if the damage to the arena can really be called just an inconvenience. Both of them promise that they will fix it. Shangong says it's alright and shows interest in Aang, who shares the name of the most powerful warrior. He wonders how the boy will handle the captain's attacks. In the fight, the brood captain grabs him by the leg to pin him down. Shangong narrates how Yi Tang always counterattacks with precision. Years of fighting demons sharpened his judgment, but just when they thought Aang would lose, he turns the tables with quick moves and strikes the captain's head with his own, landing a solid blow. The captain doesn't understand, so Aang explains his strategy. Although the skull is strong, the area between the eyes is softer. He attacks again, taking hits, and yet Yi Tang remains standing. The spectators are in shock. Aang unleashes a blast that shatters the ground, demonstrating a technique of both attack and defense. He decides to push the demon's power even further with more force. He attacks again, forcing Yi Tang to retreat in fear. The brood vanishes and reappears beginning. Tadai Yoshioku's Amenji. Aang uses the dust to slip into the captain's blind spot and turns his own move against him. The big boss remarks that this boy is very vengeful and learns quickly. The brute is angry because his own move was used against him and warns his opponent not to forget that it was his move and he knows it best. Shangong notices that the captain is losing his advantage. Aang throws a punch but deliberately misses, much to the brute's surprise. He wonders why he missed. My boy pointed out his superior's tendency to restrain the opponent rather than fight head-on. Aang used this to his advantage and headbutted the captain, leaving him with blurred vision and unable to see. This gave him the perfect chance for the finishing blow, but he missed on purpose as he only wanted to test his strength. Shangong is already curious about Aang's abilities. The door opens and Sui Yu enters with her friends. She reminds them that dinner is almost ready and that Liu's family has prepared a big meal in the hall. When she looks around, she's surprised by the destruction. Aang quickly blames the captain. While Joel mocks the captain for losing, the big boss interrupts, reminding them that the fight is over and invites everyone to dinner. Aang is also hungry and thanks Shungong for the invitation. Shungong reflects on Aang's determination, power, control and experience, concluding that he has great potential. As our boy leaves, the father jokes with his daughter, embarrassing her by pairing them up. Then, everyone gathers for dinner. Shunbong raises his drink and speaks on behalf of the village. He thanks them for protecting everyone and honors the warriors who fought. He praises Aang for saving his daughter. My boy stands up and says there's no need to thank him, though his commander scolds him for drinking alcohol, reminding him that he's underage. But our boy argues that he's 18 and that's why he was eligible for the warrior's exam. With the lively atmosphere, the chief smiles at his daughter, still trying to pair her up with our boy. Then we move on to the final conversation between father and daughter. He believes that Leo is very skilled and that Aang's talent matches hers. If the boy is as capable as a strong girl like Liu, she might like him. The girl thinks about it and decides that Aang is a bit foolish. She stops thinking and eats while Suyu barks. He says how delicious the food is and that it feels luxurious. Let's not forget that Lan is also here. She asks our boy how he managed to defeat the Fin Demon. Yotang explains that Aang drew power from his core, making him stronger for a while. Then Yoshioku adds that it's similar to how the captains use their core, but Aang took a big risk to get that power and save himself. Without training, it was dangerous. His body hurt and using it again could damage him permanently. Moreover, the training of Aang and Yi Yaotang was eye-opening. The boy's power is impressive, but he needs more training or his body might break down. Internally, our boy knows that if he told them he absorbed the cores of 2 one-fin demons and has wood-type healing powers to recover quickly, it would be too much information. He decides to play along with them and keep the real information to himself. He confirms that the captains were right. That's why he fainted. It's clear that he needs to train his body more. Lan is surprised by Aang's abilities and says how amazing he is, hoping she won't be left behind. Lu is also astonished by his skills and now understands how he was able to save her. The rough commander reveals that they were going to punish Aang and Lu for ruining the mission, but since they defeated a one-finned demon, they let it go. He warns them not to act like that again. Joel also reminds them that there's no time to relax because the squad competition is still on. Speaking of which, Tara Yoshioku points out that Liu's squad is in last place and needs to put in more effort from the next day onwards. Well, my boy is sure that his squad will be at the top. A month later, the squad competition is in its final and most intense phase. To earn more points, the squads take on level missions, which are quite tough. Liu talks to his squad and decides that they'll go after a fattened sheep to score a lot of points and challenge the other groups. The leader of the Black Gun squad mocks our Sundare girl for challenging them, reminding her about the kick she received. Liu can't stand his nonsense and challenges him to a duel for 10 points. The bastards are more than willing to accept. They are ready to settle scores with a squad. In the village arena, everyone gets to know about the duel. The leader of Black Gun reminds them that the audience is growing and it's not too late to back out. He warns that if Black Gun bullies Lu's team, it'll look bad for them. My lad thinks the outcome is uncertain and it's better to settle it with fists. Luckily, the vice leader of the opposing team is a girl who can take on our squad, and Lu, or at least that's what those rascals believe. My lad tells them not to underestimate Liu just because she's a girl, as she's not average. The photographer starts taking pictures, capturing every sequence of the fight that Liu is about to show. Liu tells her opponent to finish quickly to get the 10 points. The vice leader already knows that Liu is from the C2 family and is expecting her to show something interesting. Liu charges in to attack, but the girl blocks a blow. She wonders how Liu with a green core can move as fast as someone with an agility blue core. Liu disarms the girl and says that although the veteran teams have more experience in tactics, their individual skills are not enough. Team fighting works, but individual skills matter too. A girl's blow is painful, and the opponent realizes that Liu injected power into her muscles, causing them to spasm. Seeing her unprotected, Liu attacks her several times. The leader of the rogue team is devastated to see his team lose. Liu makes her fall and reminds her that the Sichu family are experts in physical moves. The crowd praises her performance while the opponent is left in disbelief. After losing 10 points, he challenges them to a 20-point match. Our girl accepts, excited about the 20 points. But this time my boy takes charge while she rests. The creepy guy tells Aang that he's no good and wants to go after Liu. My boy reminds this rogue that since Liu is the leader, he must defeat him first to be worthy of challenging her. The man doesn't seem sure about facing Aang, but he doesn't care. He threatens to hit our boy so hard that even his mother won't recognize him. Aang's teammates are shocked, so Igu gets ready for Frupo. Aang and the boy take their positions on the battlefield. The man pulls out his weapon and shows that he has switched to training bullets. He assures our boy that they'll hurt but won't injure him. They are something new for him. The warriors of the past use real bullets. He mocks his opponent so that he doesn't miss. A member of Black Gun says that's for rookies and that their leader has excellent aim, making Aang feel embarrassed. The leader of Black Gun warns Aang that too much confidence could get him killed, so he allows him to choose whichever weapon he wants. He doesn't want Aang to accuse him of bullying. Our boy remembers the unique weapon he owned in the past. Since he doesn't have it, he decides to fight with his fists and asks his opponent if that's alright. That arrogant brat is shocked and his mates wonder what Aang is planning. The rascal laughs and asks if Aang really wants to fight without a weapon. He thinks all rookies are full of themselves. He accepts our boy's demands, reminding Aang that even if a lion hunts a rabbit, it wouldn't hold back. He promises not to show any mercy and to win back the points. Our boy now has the perfect chance to train the demon within him and use his strength. The battle continues. He dodges the bullet and charges at the man. The guy calls him an idiot for attacking and shows him a guided missile. He fires many bullets and Aang realizes that these high-speed ones are difficult to dodge, even for agile demons. He's glad to have chosen this opponent as it allows him to test his skills. He uses his water abilities to attack. People watch as Aang dodges the bullets smoothly, like water. After dodging his attacks, the rascal threatens our boy with his trump card. A member of the Black Gun squad believes that their leader's weapon is excellent for storing power and adding energy to the bullets for stronger shots. As Aang approaches the weapon, the man challenges him to see how he dodges explosive bullets at point-blank range, but our boy strikes the weapon, sending the shot into the air. Then he hits the opponent's hand to take control of the weapon. With the next Kate, he knocks the rascal down. Then he puts his foot on the weapon and scores the victory, earning 20 points. The defeated opponent trembles and says that it's impossible. Lan and Meena praise our boy for his performance. Liu, not having seen clearly what happened, wonders where Aang learned these skills. The squad earns 30 points from their fight with the Black Gun squad and draws attention. Soon many warriors, including veteran squads, come to challenge them for the thrill of winning. Lu's squad accepts these challenges with points at stake. They win more than they lose and their points rise quickly. By the end of the month, despite the envy of other squads, Lu's squad is at the top and makes it to the finals. The final competition will be between 3 squads. The scene shifts to the Colosseum, where the final battles are supposed to take place. The 3 elders head towards the Colosseum. Joel gets excited every time they return to the ruins at the end of the month. Watching their squads improve step by step is truly touching. The lady is fascinated by how Liu's squad jumped to the top of the rankings in just a few days, defeating 8 teams. She heard that they used their points to challenge other squads and won most of the fights. She thinks this method is foolish and asks her rough and tough commander to put a stop to it. But Yao Tang says that they earned their points through their own strength and there's no reason to stop. He adds that with Ang and Liu on their team, they're already strong. He's watched some of their fights and saw that the other 2 members are also quite good. As they reach a door, Joel remembers that it's been years since a new squad made it to the finals, causing quite a stir outside. Yao Tang opens the door, enters the Colosseum, and says he's excited for the upcoming matches. Among the crowd, a member of Tadayo Yoshioku's squad criticizes our brute captain and his squad. She criticizes them for not having a name. Another girl from Tada Yoshioku's team warns her that others might overhear. By the way, Tada Yoshioku's team is called Sunflower Squad and Joel's is called Luminous Squad. Everyone thinks that Yao Tang's side is full of rookies and that all the hype is just rumors. Our squad does some stretching and Sugi notices that their opponent looks quite intimidating. Lan says that the Star, Flower and Luminous squads are the strongest under Tada Yoshioku and Joel and are well known in Helios. He adds that the next 3 captains who will replace the current ones will come from these squads. Ang says it's alright and tells his squad to give it their all. Although his body still lacks his secret power, he will not lose to anyone with strength similar to that of a Fin Demon. He feels that winning should be easy and is curious about the prize. Meanwhile, Tada Yoshioku asks his squad to gather. When they gather, the squad leader tells her captain that they are ready and asks for something special if they win, like a shopping trip with her beloved captain in a level B town. Just in time, the Luminous squad also arrives and does not hesitate to criticize the Sunflower squad. While other squads are looking for something bigger, the Sunflower squad is only thinking about going shopping. A girl from the Starflower squad gets annoyed and says that he doesn't understand how important it is for girls to buy clothes. Now she knows why the Sunflower squad would never get along with Luminous. The captains of all the teams finally arrive. Once the seniors finish their talk, Yi Yao Tang orders our squad to gather. When the 3 squads come together, he says that since they already know each other, he won't introduce them one by one. And without further ado, he explains the terms and conditions. The finals will have both team and individual matches, and the squad with the most points wins. Para Yoshioku adds that the rules for each match will be revealed later and they will announce the prize to keep everyone competitive. She's sure that everyone is excited about the prize, yeah? Joel announces that the first prize is a one-way training session in a level B village, which makes the contestants happy. Our squad is very happy. Without further delay, Ji Yao Teng instructs the squad leaders to come forward for the draw. While the leaders pick their lots, the warriors try to guess what challenge they will face. Hank thinks about the changes he sees compared to his previous life. In his time, the classification of villages was not clear. They were independent and had to fend for themselves. He remembers Lan saying that this is a level C village, the lowest one. Level B and A villages are above this. The level A ones have strong warriors. The only settlement above them is the Great City, the strongest, with warriors of 5 or 6 Finns and the 7 top Finn warriors. Ang wonders how it compares to his old village and whether it still exists after the Great Battle. He thinks about his old companions. Suddenly Lon calls out to him, noticing that he's daydreaming. Sui-Hu suggests that they get ready since they are the first ones to compete. Ji Yao Tang announces that all the weapons have been replaced with training weapons and that the first match is between Liu's squad and the Luminous squad. Suddenly, the photographer realizes that they still don't have a squad name and wonders if they'll be able to come up with one. Lan agrees, saying that they need a good name for when they become famous. Ang says it's a good idea and that they should talk about it later. Meanwhile, Liu is feeling nervous. The leader of the Luminous squad mocks them, asking how a disorganized group like theirs could possibly win. He tells his members to focus on taking out their opponents, leaving Liu to him. The battle is signaled to begin. Liu realizes that this will be a fight where everyone battles one-on-one, but this strategy only benefits the stronger opponents. She laments the situation and tells her team to group together. An notices that Liu has figured out the tactics. The best move for our squad would be to take out their leader. He points out that the biggest flaw in the Luminous Squad strategy is that if they lose their leader, the whole team falls apart. Liu's judgment is good and An thinks it's brilliant, but the opponent also tells their team to regroup and change tactics, and everyone focuses on our girl Liu. Liu also tells her team to support her by covering her moves. Her teammates quickly block the other 3 members of the Luminous Squad with precise strikes. The leader of the Luminous Squad sees Liu moving straight towards him and warns her not to underestimate him, and he also charges forward to fight Liu. The boy attacks with a small gun made of red inzin. The girl quickly instructs her team to close their eyes to stay safe. She thinks that the boy used energy in his hand to make a flash grenade that even hit his own teammates. Seeing this dirty trick, Jiao Tong gets annoyed with Joel for not teaching the leader of the Luminous Squad how to fight without cheating. The flash works in duels, but it's bad in team battles since it affects your own teammates as well. Joel replies that he told him many times, but he didn't listen. And sometimes habits need a tough lesson. In the battle, the conceited one thinks that rookies shouldn't be arrogant. As he gets ready to attack, Aang steps in, hits his hands, and asks if he thought about his teammate's safety. Then our boy puts on a water visor and kicks him. The boy is surprised and wants to know since when Aang has had the visor. Our boy throws a punch before explaining that the glasses are made of water, thick and able to bend light, which blocks most of the flash. He made them by absorbing water, thus reducing the light. It works and the light fades away. Liu sees that the leader of the opposing team is injured after our boy's hit. Then she rushes in to finish off the rascal. Meanwhile, that rascal suddenly can't move his hand. Looks like Aang dislocated his down. The girl gets furious and gives the rascal a solid hit. Meanwhile, Aang calmly helps his teammates so that the fights go smoothly. After the battle, Liu draws the attention of the enemy team by telling them that their leader has fallen and asks if they want to continue. Of course, they choose to surrender. Joel says it was to be expected. Even worse, our boy hasn't even used his power yet. The leader of the Sunflower Squad questions the leader of the Luminous Squad, asking if their defeat was due to lack of strength. The boy says they were just caught off guard and warns that the Sunflower Squad will be next. As the Sunflower Squad comes down, their leader thinks that the comments from the Luminous Squad are annoying. Upon entering the arena, Yoshioku tells them that the weapons are in training mode, starting the battle. The Sunflower Squad attacks Liu's team. Their leader tells them not to get bothered by the tactics of the Luminous Squad, to continue their training and maintain formation. Meanwhile, our Brute Land decides to put all his strength into a single blow. When he strikes the ground, he creates a shockwave that cracks the earth. Aang thinks about using his power since there is chaos. He makes roots come out of the ground to trap the opponents. They are surprised and wonder where this power came from. Aang is pleased that it works and sees many uses for the elements he got from the demons. He wonders how many there are. Liu signals to Lan to keep attacking and the boy charges, but the opponents dodge. The leader of the Sunflower Squad orders her team to move and regroup. She thinks their formation has been broken, but immediately Liu and Suiyu attack the leader, who tries to block and calls for help, but sees that her teammates are already fighting against our side. The girl sees Aang with 2 companions and remembers the warning from the Luminous Squad. Aang is the strongest in Liu's team and can turn the tide of the battle. Our photographer warns her to stay focused, but the girl feels invincible because she is of the agility type. This arrogant girl gets a reality check when Suiyu uses his speed to attack her, giving us the victory. Yoshioku says it's over. Liu's team has won all the battles. Now it's time for individual duels. As the warriors choose their opponents, both leaders from the Sunflower and Luminous Squads want to fight against Aang. Jiao Tang explains that individual duels are one-on-one, so they must decide who will fight our boy. But being the tough guy he is, Aang wants to take on both of them. As the duels draw near, Aang knows this will be the final fight, so he has to take it seriously. His opponent is convinced that Aang is underestimating him. They promise that he will regret not taking them seriously. Yoshioku explains that the rules are the same as before and the duel ends when one side surrenders or cannot continue. And with that settled, they are ready to fight. The boy and the girl attack Aang together. The boy attacks first, warning him again not to underestimate him. He uses his flash attack again, causing his partner to be surprised that he is using this trick so soon. You see, some time ago, both of them had a conversation before the duel began. She remembers the boy saying that since they are fighting together against Aang, they cannot afford to lose. The chance to go to a level B city might still be possible. He has a good plan and gives her a special battle visor, saying that it will block most of the flash attacks. When he blinds Aang, she should take the opportunity to attack. The girl is amazed by the value of the visor. The boy emphasizes that they cannot underestimate Aang and need to work together to get to the level B city. He also reminds her that the flash will be the signal, so she must not miss her chance. As the boy gets ready to attack, he lets her boy know that there is no way to escape because his attack is 5 times stronger than before. Tada, Yoshioku and the others struggle to see through the bright light. The girl notices that the boy put a lot of energy into a powerful flash, even stronger than in the last finals. Joel fears that using so much energy might mean the core won't be able to handle it for long, so they need to finish quickly. The leader of the Sunflower Squad believes that Aang will only be blinded for a short while. And to make the most of this opportunity, she decides to use her speed to attack him quickly. She finds him and gets ready to attack, but my boy was already on her and looked at her with satisfaction on his face. The girl is shocked by his intense gaze, feeling as if something terrifying was dragging her into a cold ocean. Aang uses water to trap her, making her scream in pain. While her partner is busy producing blinding light, he asks why she's the one screaming, to which she replies that it's because Aang attacked her and her visor fell off, leaving her blind. Aang apologizes for ruining their plan. Then he uses different elements to attack both of them, making them fall down. Yao Tang watches the flashes in the dust, hoping that the warriors know how to control their power so that no one gets hurt. Worried, he jumps into the arena to check and senses an ominous aura. But after that massive explosion of energy, the dust begins to settle, revealing our boy as the only one still standing. His friends run towards him. Lan is the first one to praise him and asks how he managed to stop their attacks in that bright light and defeat 2 opponents at the same time. He is curious because no one could see anything after that explosion of light, to which Aang reveals that he grabbed their visor, making them blind as well. But of course Liu feels deep down that there is something more to it, although he does not voice his suspicions. Yao Tang approaches his squad, telling them that they have won the tournament and congratulating them. He is surprised by our boy, especially by how he countered and attacked the 2 squad leaders. Aang humbly says that his superior is just flattering him. Internally, Aang thinks that he is the most powerful warrior and that no tough opponent could make him lose. He feels that he could have won just with his battle experience, although using his powers made it easier. Yao Tang then assures them that they will be rewarded. The next day, they'll go to the underground tunnel to the nearest level B city for a week of training. Everyone is happy with this news. The superior tells them to get ready and gather in the morning as they leave. Lan says he heard that there are 3 elite warriors in those cities and hopes to meet them. As our squad walks away with smiles on their faces, Joel notes that Aang is so strong that even they couldn't defeat him if he used his full power. Our tough commander also agrees, believing that the boy will reach the peak of his career someday. Joel adds that the underground tunnel is safer than going on the surface. The woman warns the commander to stay alert as sometimes finless demons appear. Yao Tang is not worried, he believes that no finless demon can threaten them. He's confident that the 4 of them will be fine without his help. The underground tunnel, once a travel hub, is now in ruins and serves only as a passageway. Meanwhile, in one of those tunnels, a frightened warrior is running away, but a 2-finned demon kills him. The demon says that humans are weak and boring. He's lost and does not know how to get out. The next day, Yao Tang and his youngsters arrive at the underground passage. Suisu is excited and takes photos. She says the place is very old and asks when it was built. The elder reveals that it is older than him. The girl notices that it looks deserted and wonders if it was ever used. Yao Tang explains that after the Battle of Dawn, many warriors died and the number of elites decreased, making expansion or missions impossible. Moreover, they ran out of energy crystals. The vast underground network was abandoned due to the lack of energy crystals. It was built during the era of the great warrior Aang. Suisu was surprised that it was from such a famous era. The most fascinating thing is that our boy's hero also lived during that time. He feels a bit smug, which annoys Yi Out Ang. She thinks that the boy only shares the name of the great warrior and has no real connection to him. She orders Ang not to joke about the most powerful warrior. After an argument, the elder calms down upon realizing that he got upset for no reason. He reassures them and asks them to continue. Seeing the architecture, Ang remembers that the structure looks like something he had suggested in a past life. His captain is mistaken about one detail. This place is a huge underground network that connects the cities and serves as the safest and fairest trade route. He didn't expect that such an impressive system would be abandoned after his death. Out of curiosity, Lan asks about the energy crystals that his elder mentioned. And yes, they are like demon cores. Yeo Tang explains that energy crystals are made by combining many demon cores together. One demon core increases power, but combining many is complicated. They failed until they managed to create a large energy crystal. This crystal powers their cities like electricity. Future high-level operations will require group hunts to obtain demon cores and make energy crystals for the elite. They go to the level B city of Picardia to learn and receive their crystals. Suisu asks what would happen if the city's energy core runs out and there are no replacements. Jiao Tang says that everything would come to a halt. Everyone is shocked. The Major clarifies that without energy, normal life would be impossible. Defense and weapons would stop working and people would flee from their homes. It is the city's biggest disaster, but there is no need to panic. He or his town is not very big. Their energy crystal can last for another 3 months. They usually travel to Picardia every month, so it's just a precaution. There is no immediate danger. Jiao Tang wants them to be prepared. A level B city like Picardia has 3 5-finned warriors, including one with a synchronization rate of 69%. Everyone except Aang is surprised. My boy boasts of being a 7-finned warrior with 96% synchronization. Sushi spots a button on the wall, goes to press it and asks what it is. Aang sees what she is doing and stops her. Jiao Tang scolds her for touching something and is glad that Aang intervened. The girl says that the button looks like it wants to be pressed. Her hand naturally reaches for it. Jiao Tang explains that the button is for an emergency seal. In the worst case scenario, it would close off that part of the tunnel. He points to a circle above and says that by pressing it, metal slabs will instantly seal the area. This is to cut off access to other cities and ensure safety. Aang thinks that the most important part of the tunnel is still working, but he senses a murderous intent. He gets ready for battle and moves forward a bit. The Major notices Aang's tense face and then smells blood, which shocks him. He's surprised that Aang had already smelled the enemy before. For now, he assumes that Aang's nose is very sensitive and covers it up as just an instinct. Now is not the time to king. He tells Liu's squad to drop their bags and get ready for battle. As they move forward, they see blood and Jiao Tang wonders what is happening in Picardia since the blood is coming from that direction. They find the wounded Picardia warrior who asks if they are from Eluas before collapsing. Jiao Tang asks what happened in Picardia. The man says that a demon horde attacked the city. Picardia has already activated the evacuation arm. Leo asks what that means, if they should go and help. Jiao Tang reveals that the city would only activate the alarm if all its warriors are dead. Aang is furious about the fall of the city and the lives lost. They see sparks coming from Picardia. A beam of light strikes the wounded warrior, dragging him away. Aang feels bad for not reacting as a demon appears. It grabs the wounded man's head and looks at the others. It says that everyone must die and the dead do not speak. It kills the warrior. The demon thinks about whom to kill first. It attacks Lan, but Jiao Tang stops the blow. The demon notices that this warrior is stronger. Jiao Tang realizes that it is a 2-finned fire demon and that it is very powerful. He knows he can't take another blow and must protect them. He doesn't have the energy to think, so he grabs them and takes them to escape. The demon keeps chasing them with force. Jiao Tang reaches a button, but the demon comes closer and threatens to kill them. Aang presses the button, pushing Jiao Tang and the others. He stays behind with the demon and the wounded warrior from Picardia. Leo tries to protest, but the door closes, leaving her worried. Jiao Tang remembers how Aang insisted on saving them, so he trusts our boy and asks the children to stay calm. Aang has given them a chance to survive, which they must not waste. It's not safe to stay, so he tells them to hurry up and leave. Lan says that the demon has 2 fins and that Aang would have a tough time. So Yihu agrees, they can't just leave him like that. Lu also insists on breaking the door to save him. Xiao Tang explains that the door is made of a special material with alloys that can withstand attacks from 3 fin demons. It's not easy to break, and the ceiling is so strong that nothing can be heard from the other side. There's nothing that can be done. The three of them ask if there's any other way to save Aang. Jiao Tang admits that even with the help of the other two captains, there's no guarantee, but he finds a possible solution. He tells them to follow him to the side tunnels. One of them leads to another city where they can get help. They keep running along the path that Jiao Tang showed them. One thinks that this route means ignoring what's happening on the other side of the door, but everyone hopes our boy survives. Meanwhile, the man in question is fighting the demon and shows his true power. Since there's no one around, he doesn't need to hide it anymore. Seeing this, the two-fin demon asks whether Aang is a demon or a human. Even our boy isn't sure himself. For now, he's more interested in the demon's fire element. He wants to take it all for himself. Seeing the aura coming from our boy, the two-fin demon gets curious to know if he's more powerful than a one-fin demon. Aang uses roots to attack the demon. Seeing this, the demon mocks him, saying that if Aang is a one-finned wood type, then his fire is the perfect counterattack. He unleashes a fierce blaze to destroy Aang's roots, saying that he'll consume his powers. The demon shoots a burst of fire, but Aang dodges it, causing the fire to hit the door instead. The rascal mocks Aang, saying that he will get burnt if he comes closer and tries to escape, but our boy uses water to neutralize the fire and creates a powerful explosion. This surprises the demon and Aang tells him to stay put.